History made. Chicago-born Robert Francis Prevost becomes Pope Leo XIV, the first American ever to lead the Catholic Church. What will this former Peru missionary and Vatican insider bring to St. Peter's throne? White Smoke delivers daily bulletins tracking this unprecedented pontificate as it unfolds. Will Leo XIV continue Francis's inclusive vision or forge a new path blending American pragmatism with Latin American experience? And what does his papal name choice signal about his priorities? White Smoke. Essential daily insights where ancient tradition meets modern challenge. New episodes every day wherever you get your podcasts.
Calaroga Shark Media.
From San Francisco, where operating a prison in shark-infested waters makes a lot of sense, this is Ballot.
And it's just a coincidence that Escape from Alcatraz just hit Netflix. Boy, there are so many crazy news stories we can't even keep up this week. I'm Patrick Gutfield, and Trump wants to turn Alcatraz back into America's naughty corner president. Trump has announced his latest plan to make America great again by reopening Alcatraz prison. That's right. The infamous island prison that closed over 60 years ago is getting the Trump renovation treatment. The commander-in-chief declared on Truth Social that he's directing the Bureau of Prisons to dust off the old cells for what he calls the dregs of society, which sounds like something a villain would say in a movie that critics describe as a bit on the nose. According to Trump's social media declaration, when America was more serious, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals and keep them far away from anyone they could harm. Because apparently the sign of a truly serious nation is having an island prison that looks like it was designed by someone who watched too many James Bond movies. Trump says he wants the prison substantially enlarged and rebuilt to serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice. And you know it's serious justice because he wrote it in all caps. Now, there are just a few tiny problems with this plan. First, Alcatraz is currently a national landmark and major tourist attraction run by the National Park Service. Thousands of visitors tour the island each year, which I'm guessing would create some awkward moments if half the facility is giving history tours while the other half is processing new inmates. Also worth noting, Alcatraz was originally closed because it was literally falling apart and incredibly expensive to operate. Everything, food, supplies, guard rotation, had to come by boat. It's like running a prison with the logistics of planning a destination wedding. During its 29 years of operation, Alcatraz housed famous gangsters like Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. It was nearly escape-proof thanks to strong currents and freezing cold water surrounding the island. Though there were 36 escape attempts, only 3 men, the Anglin brothers and Frank Morris, might have actually made it out alive in 1962, but no one knows for sure. When Trump announced reopening Guantanamo Bay for migrants earlier this year, his son Donald Trump Jr. actually tweeted, "Maybe we should also reopen Alcatraz?" And now, here we are, because apparently presidential policy is now determined by whatever gets the most retweets from family members. President Trump announced his brilliant plan to save Hollywood by slapping a 100% tariff on foreign films. Picture this scene. Trump standing on the White House lawn, dramatically declaring that Hollywood is dying. Not just dying, dying in all caps. Because nothing captures nuance like shouting on social media. Trump wrote, and I swear this is real, other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away. He called it a national security threat, and messaging and propaganda. Now, when I hear national security threat, I think of spies and missiles, not whether the next Marvel movie gets filmed in Atlanta or Toronto. But apparently, President Trump stayed up all night doing what he called very strong research on the film industry. Very strong research. That's like saying you did extremely powerful homework or aggressively thorough Googling. Well, President Trump wants to slap a 100% tariff on foreign-made films, and Whoopi Goldberg isn't having it. I haven't seen someone this upset about international trade policy since my uncle discovered his authentic Italian leather shoes were made in New Jersey. Trump declared on Truth Social that he wants a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. Because nothing says make America great again, like making sure Americans can't watch the next Squid Game without taking out a second mortgage. Whoopi Goldberg went on The View and pointed out some minor flaws in this brilliant plan. She said, "You can't shoot Gladiator without going to Rome," which is true. Do you think you can just film Star Wars without going to space? Alyssa Farah Griffin, who used to work for Trump, suggested we might end up with Emily in Paris, Texas, or White Lotus Mar-a-Lago edition, which are both way better jokes to anything the AI that writes this show has ever come up with. I would actually watch White Lotus Mar-a-Lago. Imagine the drama when someone orders a well-done steak with ketchup. Trump's spokesperson is already walking it back, saying no final decisions have been made. Translation: the president tweeted something without thinking it through, and now we have to pretend it's a carefully considered policy position. His Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick immediately jumped on social media with, "We're on it," which I'm pretty sure is government speak for I have no idea what he's talking about, but I value my job. Entertainment consultant Catherine Arnold pointed out, and I'm paraphrasing here, "This makes absolutely no sense. The best part? America is actually a net exporter of films. We send more movies out to the world than we bring in." So Trump's plan is basically like putting a tariff on something we're winning at. It's like charging yourself extra to win. So there you have it. President Trump's latest blockbuster policy, Tariffs 2, Electric Boogaloo. Coming soon to a failed economic policy near you.
What happens when one of the most powerful men in music is accused of some of the most serious crimes imaginable? This is Did He Do It?, a daily podcast following the federal sex crimes trial of Sean Diddy Combs. I'm your host, Nate Oliver, and every weekday I'll take you inside the courtroom where prosecutors say Combs ran a criminal enterprise of sex trafficking, coercion, and abuse, using his fame, fortune, and influence to silence victims and control lives. We'll cover the big stories and the small moments that could shift the verdict. The trial has begun. The questions are piling up. And every day we'll be asking the same thing. Did he do it? Follow now wherever you get your podcasts.
Tired of doom scrolling? Want news that won't make you want to live in a bunker? Check out 5 Good News Stories, where they find the silver lining in a world that's usually lined with something much less pleasant. The gang at 5 Good News Stories dig through the headlines to find 5 stories that prove humanity hasn't completely lost its mind. It's pretty much the opposite of this show. From scientific breakthroughs nobody's talking about to random acts of kindness that restore your faith in humanity, all delivered with the cutting wit you deserve. 5 Good News Stories, because sometimes the news doesn't have to suck. Subscribe to 5 Good News Stories wherever you get your podcasts. The most important story this week was figuring out how Bill Belichick's girlfriend got in the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. 24-year-old girlfriend Jordan Hudson has apparently become the new power broker behind the legendary coach. A sports source told Page Six she forced her way into Belichick's Super Bowl Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Ben Affleck. The source claimed, "People said they've never seen anything like it." I'm guessing they've never Googled Meghan Markle. In the ad, Hudson doesn't speak but does pump her fist alongside Affleck. Meanwhile, Belichick delivers a zinger about how the competition's drink sounds like what's in my garbage disposal. Sources told Page Six that Hudson demanded to be an executive producer on Belichick's planned Hard Knocks docuseries. Apparently, she wanted to see dailies and told execs they needed to respect her or they wouldn't get to use the coach's IP. The Hard Knocks team reportedly responded by saying, "We can't deal with this," and walked away. Hudson's company, Trouble Cub Enterprises, now there's a name with a red flag on it, has filed for 14 trademarks with the Federal Trademark Office to reclaim various phrases coined by the coach. Because nothing says I'm in this relationship for love, like aggressively trademarking your boyfriend's catchphrases. During a recent CBS Sunday Morning interview, when Belichick was asked about how they met on an airplane, Hudson interrupted with, "We're not talking about that." "Oh yes, we are, Jordan. Remember, in the game of love, sometimes the best offense is a good defense. and apparently a 24-year-old girlfriend who runs your business affairs. Portions of today's program were made with the help of Dunkin' Donuts, the movie The Rock, and AI.